Hello, everyone. Hello. Thanks for being here on Sun and Moon Yoga Studios YouTube portal channel. My name's aLex Levin, and we're here to have some precious practice together today. So I'm going to read to you this poem by Oriah Mountain Dreamer called Spring Blessing. Actually, I've memorized it. Let's see if I can do it from memory. One day you wake up able to name the weight you've been carrying, realizing not a part of your body or your being, not essential in any way to journeying or joy. You set it down gently, without fanfare, in the long, soft grass at the side of the road, and walk on, surprised to find yourself smiling in the warm sun for no particular reason. So let me get back to my seat. And as I chat for a few minutes, go ahead and set up your seat that will be a comfortable position, a comfortable posture for about our 12 minutes of meditation. Some beautiful roses next to me this morning. So one day you wake up able to name the weight you've been carrying. Maybe, like me, you sometimes have the experience of carrying something very, very heavy. I've had that recently, and in several different instances, in several different relationships, stories in my life. And I'm reminded of something I learned not so long ago, but that is about my great-grandmother, who I don't think I met her, and I don't think so. I think I was born overseas and she died before we came back. So my grandmother, my maternal grandmother, because my great-grandmother had Parkinson's for 10 years and they lived in an apartment building, they were immigrants in an apartment building in Passaic, New Jersey, she carried her mother up the 2 flights of stairs whenever her mom needed to go out. I'll have to ask my mother if she remembers, while she still might, she remembers how often they went outside. Anyway, that carrying, and it's so interesting to observe, and I'm going to pull on last week's theme that is, it's on the surface of my consciousness to remember to practice that start close in, as some things have drawn me out and spinning, and I'm looking towards solution, and what do I say? How do I fix this? How do I represent well? How do I not offend? How do I connect? How do I feel safe myself? How do I make others feel safe? All that. But first, sitting with what is here, so important, and to see what it is we're interpreting, what it is we're feeling, what it is we're needing. Some of you might see that I'm hearkening to the language of nonviolent communication of Marshall Rosenberg. That when we can get those things clear, when we know what those are, then what needs to be done next, I think, will be obvious. I've had a few tastes of that. I'm not there on some of the projects here myself right now. So this practice today, it's not so much about a meditation practice is not so much about looking for what are the feelings, not the asking of that. That's another practice that I've sometimes thrown in called focusing. However, this practice is more about holding our ground, being secure, safe, supported, and open to ourself, open to what is, to experience what it is to be present. What is presence? And as we do that, as we hold this presence for ourselves, every being, as we sit, things arise, don't they? Thoughts come in, sensations, concerns. Is the fan too loud? I'm wondering. Um, Sounds, body sensations come in. How do I hold my posture just right? And this practice is more about not diving into those, and not even kind of the step before, like notice the awareness that welcomes, that holds all this so easily with no burden, no burden. I know this resonates when I say that awareness can hold this with no burden. And yet I know it's hard out off the mat when the rubber hits the road. It's hard. It's hard to know that. So we practice and we get more familiar with, we build up the neural network that lets us come back to this space of holding space more and more easily and readily. There was something else I wanted to add, but I forgot. All right, so let's sit together for 12 minutes. I like to start with a bell and a bow, as my teacher does. Oh, it was something about what my teacher says. Oh, yes. He says that it is, so I study with him meditation and Zen meditation, Feldenkrais movement, and this method called focusing, a trio that he and his wife called the Embodied Life School. It's all very parallel for me, very much dovetails with yoga and the bits I know of Buddhism and life experience. Key important ingredient, our life experience, our own experience. So he says that it is awareness that is the healer, the healing agent. So all the movement is good, all our practices are good, but as we come to know for ourselves, not know so much up here in a linear kind of way, but know with our whole being what it is that awareness is, maybe our burden will become less as we hold it in the wholeness, as we see how it's connected more. Okay, ensure that you've got support. I've got a little lift under my one leg, under my thigh, my timer here. Let's have a good journey, as also Russell says. Enjoy the journey. So settle. Let yourself settle into this invisible but so palpable field of gravity. That hug of the earth toward herself. Exhale and imagine perhaps that any burden that you feel, not that you're done with it, but maybe you rest it downward. Any way you feel that physically, mentally, emotionally. The sitting still, this practice of sitting still, Noticing, receiving. It's working. Even if you find that your mind is incessant, a monkey banging her drums, cymbals. We're in a practice of practicing non-reactivity by holding still. The breath is here. She moves. She moves without us needing to do anything. My mind just took me on a journey. My body tightened. I return and I exhale. I notice how I greeted that departure and return. I return to feeling ground through my body, sound and space around through all my senses. And breath flow that needs nothing from me. Perhaps be gentle Be gentle with yourself, as Kira Sloan says. That's you in there. That's you in there. And you can take that backward step, a relaxed step, as if we shift into a different presence, a different dimension, a different mind state of sensing, where is the awareness? Is it ever absent? If you feel unmoored or lost, unskillful, simply choose any of our tools to tether yourself. Ground, breath, phrase, spine. Focus the attention until you're ready to open to sense the boundless awareness that it exists in. Bowing together, close our practice. So last week, or some weeks, I only use one bell at the end. Um, this is a transition from, so definitely a different state, right? The meditative state. And now, as we leave this cushion, leave this practice, and go on to the next thing in our day, there's a different level of energy, of activity, of way we're interacting. And it's good to be aware of that. And by just that awareness of it, we're again building a repertoire, a facility with it, and it'll get easier to go in and out of these states, like coming to that really quiet, grounded presence, open, boundless, and then to on to doing and thinking and interacting a more fast pace. So, and we can take these little breaks. It'll be my homework. I like to give homework. We can take these breaks where we uh, where we take a minute or two of coming into that meditative state, into that unfocused. But to get there, you can take a focus. So say you're wherever you are, you're waiting in line. It's a common one for me to choose. You got some time, you're fidgety, or you're in a hurry, or just I can feel my feet. I can feel where I'm standing. Feel my breath. I can open. Let's try to do that more and more often. I think it'll be helpful for how we move around on the planet.